I mean, I really enjoyed, our last match. Just a bunch of haymakers, players trying to do what they do. The last game wasn't as exciting as I would have liked, but it is impressive watching these decks do their thing.
Of course, these players, good friends, just went deep in the team tournament last week, working together in that instance, playing Amulet Titan. Now they're working against each other. I would assume these lists are close to identical. I know they were in constant communication throughout the week, preparing for this tournament. As Dilks decides what stock in Amulet Titan. That's a good meme, Craig. Familiar with that meme?
Are you going to make me feel old again?
No, this is just a Magic meme. This isn't a feel old meme. Basically, in the top 8 last week, Dilks hands Corey Baumeister his deck list. Corey looks over it and says, "It looks pretty stock to me." And Dilks replies with, "I'm the one who decides what stock in Amulet."
Oh, wow.
Just sets him straight, lets him know.
I didn't know this happened.
Well, this is my deck.
I decide what stock.
He's right. I just copy Dilks now. I'm not smart enough to figure out what's good. Ooh, here's a nice little start for Will Pulliam.
Maybe.
Double Amulet. You find that bounce land, game's over. Not too shabby on Dilks' side either. We're accelerating via Sakura Tribe Scout. Potential Titan on this turn.
Yep.
No Amulet, though, to really push it into overdrive. And you see Dilks looking thrilled, as always, to be playing Magic.
Are you saying that Dilks is an animated character?
He is a character. Going to go ahead and cast Summoner's Pact, meaning we are going to get our Titan this go-around. Must have an untapped land rolled up. Here it comes. Cavern of Souls. Cast my Primeval Titan. And go a-searching. And Dilks looks defeated because he knows he's just at the mercy of Will's deck. If Will has it, very little Dilks can do here. If you had a Amulet, you could look at playing defense a little bit, getting something like Ghost Quarter. And you see Dilks asking himself, what do I do here? Close your eyes and pray, I think, is the best strategy.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in Dilks' seat, he's in a spot where he probably can't even win next turn, right?
Wouldn't think so. He can shore up his position quite a bit.
He's going to have to pay for the Pact, which is going to tie up so much of his mana. And then even if he can deploy another Primeval Titan, he won't be able to haste it up or double strike it and close out the game. So he's saying, it's all right, great, I got my turn 3 Titan, but you're going to get your turn 3 with double Amulet, and then you're going to get your turn 4 with double Amulet.
Right.
I can't imagine this is good enough.
Now, seemingly the best thing he could do is get some Pact protection on the next turn, but unlikely to matter if Will has it here. Of course, that's not a foregone conclusion. Will was on a mulligan, 2 Amulets eating up slots in his hand. Looks like he may have drawn the Slayer's Stronghold too, which is actually pretty problematic, depending on what else is in hand. Could slow him down a bit.
Yeah, he would need something like a Souza. Maybe, he needs the Karoo to start the chain. But it's
now you're asking for a lot of cards, Craig.
Yeah, yep.
So it looks like he has the bounce land. I see Golgari Rot Farm. That's fine for making your Titan. But I am pretty confident that was Slayer Stronghold he drew this turn, which is a disastrous draw. The worst draw in the deck, unquestionably, if that was the case. Yeah, and he fanned by the Boros Garrison. Now he knows Dilks' list, contemplating if there's a way to take him off Pact mana. There isn't. Dilks will be safe. Might want that Ghost Quarter anyway, though. Clean up that Field of the Dead. Wow, Pulliam absolutely foiled by that draw step. And if you're a Dilks, big sigh of relief right now. Pulliam just going to go ahead and cast Once Upon a Time. There's an Azusa. Gemstone Mine. Yeah, Azusa seems right to me. This all but guarantees lethal on the next turn. This turn didn't go quite how Will drew it up. So we are going to see Ghost Quarter take out Field of the Dead. Dilks goes searching. Grabs the Forest. And the turn passes back to Matthew Dilks.
Yeah, I gotta say, Brian, I love watching these matchups, but it's real hard to commentate on. Like, there's very little interaction between the two decks.
Yeah, welcome to Modern, Craig. Often things go this way. I can't dispute that fact. I find it interesting, like you said, but I mean, this matchup is draw dependent. Who drew better is going to decide this matchup 99% of the time.
Well, yeah, and
especially against two players of this caliber.
That's what I was about to say. When you have two players that are this proficient, you know they're not stumbling around making mistakes, and that's what's going to cost one of them the game.
Correct. Here's a question I want to contemplate. I think it was possible for Pulliam to take Dilks off Transmuted Talaria West on this turn if he wanted to, because he could have gone after like the Simic Growth Chamber.
The Growth Chamber, yeah.
And that means he wouldn't have access to Pact of Negation on this turn, which could matter, possibly.
Yes. Yep, 100%.
I understand Field of the Dead, scarier card on its face, but knowing this is what Dilks was likely to do, I wonder. Really depends on what Will's going to do when you pass the turn back to him. It looks like Summoner's Pact is going to be the play here for Dilks. Goes and gets another Primeval Titan. Has Castle Garenbrig. Okay, second Titan is on the menu then.
So we're putting him on Pact of Negation already in his hand.
Maybe. That seems to make a lot of sense, unless you just don't think Pact of Negation is good enough. Dilks out of land drops for the turn. Double Amulet Primeval Titan is just supposed to be lethal, Craig. That's the way it goes. You're supposed to win the game from this spot. This is what you play for if you're an Amulet Titan player. The assumption is you can always win the game from this spot. The problem is, untap Ghost Quarter across the battlefield is throw intervention plans.
And he sacrificed one of his resources in using his own Ghost Quarter last turn.
Absolutely. Here is a lot of mana. Would assume 4. Should be 2 mana floating now with an extra land drop rolled up. Those dice to indicate that mana. We see Azusa in hand. It's weird. This is a spot where you'd rather have active Sakura Tribe Scout than Azusa because you can respond to what Dilks does at instant speed in that moment.
Sure, with the Ghost Quarter on the other side.
Yep. Another Summoner's Pact. Okay. Has the mana to cast that Titan. Little puzzle solving here for Will Pulliam, trying to play through that untapped Ghost Quarter.
And he's searching. It looks like this thing's resolving.
It is. Yeah, and going to be able to get a lot of mana, guaranteeing an activation on that Slayer Stronghold.
We are still taking registration for our $15 Corona Beldrain booster drafts. We do have a couple of spots remaining in our next booster draft of the day. At 4 o'clock, these drafts.
I think what is less guaranteed may be the Sunhome activation.
Those drafts cost for $20. So if you'd like to get in on one last $15 booster
That's what can really get the job done.
make your way up to the event stage and register at its time.
All kinds of mana floating now. A little bit of red, a little bit of white, a little bit of blue. Still a land drop left from that Explorer. There is the Slayer Stronghold. New Titan gets haste. 8/6 Vigilance.
Players in the 330 Modern Challenge and the 330 Sealed Spectacular, your round one pairings and your seedings for deck construction.
4 mana, going to be floating here.
Please find your seats.
That's going to cast Azusa. Just the blue floating now.
And it's important to note that Dilks is still sitting on that Ghost Quarter on the other side.
Pioneer Classic players, it's time in the round.
Now it's time to attack with Titans.
5 additional turns to complete your match. If you have a time extension and don't have a judge, please raise your hand and call a judge.
We're going to get 4 lands. Looks like Vesiva's 1. Telaria West is 2.
Oh, wow.
Vesuva's going to copy Ghost Quarter. So we are forcing the action from Dilks before the second Primeval Titan actually is going to trigger.
Yeah, I was wondering how he was going to get around the Sunhome problem.
Like I said, a little puzzle solving going on for Will Pulliam. You got to get double strike on both of those Titans if you're going to have lethal on this turn. Do we have that right now? I believe the answer is yes.
You believe he has lethal?
I think it depends what Dilks does with this Ghost Quarter.
Well, he still has 10 points of toughness, Dilks has, that he can block with, right?
Okay, I missed the zombies. I'm sorry. You are correct. Unsurprisingly, this battlefield has gotten complicated. I was just accounting for trampling over the Primeval Titan. Yeah, Will can offer 30 points of damage, optimally. Dilks really having to think here. This is a mind melter of a game.
It really is, and Dilks is saying, hey, I want that land.
Gonna get it. There's Forest. And that means Pulliam is free to resolve this second Primeval Titan trigger. And what are we getting up to with this? 2 mana floating as well, keep in mind.
A mind melter, you called it. Understatement. Are we going zombies? Are we going Sunhome?
If Sunhome isn't lethal, then it is unlikely to matter. What you want to do is make sure that Tolaria West gets transmuted somehow. Shore up your battlefield position to the extent you can. That seems to be what's most important here.
We still have land drops from Azusa, correct?
Correct.
330 Modern Challenge players. Your first round pairings have made their way to the pairings board. Once again, 330 Modern Challenge players. Your first round pairings have made their way to the
Tolaria West going to make its way back to Will's hand. That mana's gone now. And Dilks has to consider blocks now.
So for someone that has played a Titan in this turn, attacked with 2 Titans, and has Azusa on the board, Azusa? I'm saying it backwards. Anyway, I would have just thought that Will would have way more lands on his side at this point.
Like I said, beyond that, the expectation is if you have 2 amulets in play, your opponent should be dead.
Yeah, you got multiple attacks with Titans? Not multiple attacks. Last turn, he just deployed the first one.
The zombie count's starting to get high now. Dilks falls to 10 after that attack, just takes it. That makes sense to me. Seemingly wants to try and cobble together a lethal attack on his turn. That seems to be the way out here. I don't think he's going to be successful in doing so. But if anyone can find the out, it's Matthew Dilks. We're going to go ahead and grab a pact. It's going to be Summoner's Pact again. Saying, I'm definitely going to want that 3rd Titan on my next turn to close this one out.
Some more land drops, why not?
Yeah, keep them coming. More lands for Pulliam. More mana.
More zombies.
More zombies. Can we just cast Titan right now? I think the answer is yes, pretty clearly. Or do we just transmute this Tolaria West as well? Looks like we're Summoner's Pacting again.
I don't even know what's going on here.
This is an absurd turn of magic. Primeval Titan comes down, gonna grab 2 more lands. Make more zombies. Gain a little life with Radiant Fountain, looks like. Is this Radiant Fountain bounce land? No, bounce land, fetch land? Or double bounce land?
He ends up going with double Karoo, I believe.
Okay.
Gruul Turf, Simic Growth Chamber.
Well, that's a lot more mana.
Well, he's got to pay for multiple packs next turn.
Does he have 2 Summoner's Packs rolled up right now? Or just 1?
I believe it's 2 right now, but this turn's taken 12 years.
Yeah, this has been like a 10-minute turn very easily. How's the actions per turn count doing right now, Craig?
I mean, does counting a land count as an action for the turn?
It's an action.
Playing a land, yeah.
Yeah, I'll count it. Yeah, we'll split like 42 lands, I think. I mean, we're just like wiggling cards around. I don't even know what we're representing at this point. I'm assuming we were laying out some pact payments or choosing our bounces. Lands are flipping over left and right.
Both of those things, I believe, is the case here.
Mind Melter. Transmute Talaria West.
Yeah, I think now he's saying, I get the blue pact. But if I use this, I have to be able to pay for 2 green packs and a blue pact? Is that right?
I think that's what we were doing. I have a feeling that if Dilks has not scooped, he thinks there's an out in his deck. Like, he knows. Will's hand is face up. He knows what Will has.
I think Dilks might be playing just to do this to us.
Just to torture us personally? That's possible.
Not the hero we want.
I wouldn't put it by him.
The hero we deserve.
We do deserve this. I agree with you, Craig. We're going to pay some packed mana over on Dilks' side. Pact has been paid for. Dilks takes a draw. Tanks for 15 to 20 minutes. That was the longest turn in SCG Tour history.
No chance.
I guess there are like high tide decks, right?
Oh, yeah, we used to see high tide all the time.
Miss those days.
Yeah, a little feline Longmore.
Yeah, Feline, of course, popularized that deck very hard on the SCG Tour. Had a lot of success. Got some good news for Yawgmoth fans in my ear, Craig.
Does that mean you? You got some good news for you?
Particularly me, yes. Aaron Barish locking up top 8.
How's that Yawgmoth heavy portfolio looking right now?
It looks great. Someone post that Stonks meme for me.
Arrows going up.
Just a straight upside. Also, congratulations to Aaron Barish, one of my favorite players to watch here on the tour. Another great performance from her. Like I said, we generally identify her with the best aggressive deck in the format, but showing a real range for combo decks as well these days.
Love it when she goes rogue.
I wouldn't expect this deck to be rogue much longer, Craig, unless I can buy all the Yawgmoths and no one else can play it.
Well, I think you had made a comment about how there's an opportunity for graveyard decks.
Yeah, for sure. I think Graveyard Hate is kind of at an all-time low.
And I think that this deck falls into that category.
It does.
And with people having to worry about non-basic lands so much.
Artifacts.
People having to worry about artifacts so much. People having to worry about Oko specifically so much.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of room for dedicated Graveyard Hate in people's sideboard.
Well, all the context of this format is about to change, right? I mean, that is the assumption we're working under. I'll keep it rolling. We think changes are coming. We could be wrong. Maybe the format just stays pat. I don't know. We'll see. So Dilk's going to go ahead, transmute a Talaria West.
Look at the reminder dice on Pulliam's deck.
Going to grab engineered explosives to try and control Will's zombie army. Has Primeval Titan at the ready with Cavern backup. So Pact of Negation not going to be able to interact there. So Will pacted on the engineered explosives or got used?
I believe Dilks cast a Summoner's Pact to start things off.
That's what was Pact of Negation.
That got Pact of Negation.
Thank you.
You always Pact a Pact, right?
You have to.
You can't triple stamp a double stamp.
Right. Now Dilks ready to attack with those Primeval Titans.
Yeah, let's get some more lands.
Why do we even shuffle anymore? Let's just stop shuffling. Done with it. In our deck constantly anyway.
So there's a chance Pulliam has to use all of his mana paying for those packs next turn.
Right.
Is there a chance that this game still doesn't end?
Yes. I think there's a chance. I just don't believe Dilks would be here if there wasn't. Like, I honestly believe he sees a way forward in this game. He at least had a live draw going into this turn, and if he's still playing, he either thinks he can do something or he thinks there's a possibility Will can mismanage his turn to not find lethal.
Yeah, I mean, my surprise isn't that Dilks isn't scooping. It's that these double Amulet of Vigors with multiple Titans with Azusa can somehow not just close out the game.
Wild. And it's all because Will drew that Slayer's Stronghold in that one draw step. I mean, this is like a 3-minute game otherwise. Looks like we are ready to line up some blocks on these Primeval Titans. Little tradesies. Couple of lands headed back to Dilks' hand. Going to keep the chain going with more Talaria West. I mean, Will has the Primeval Titan advantage right now. You can see the onus to just clear the board of Primeval Titans, but you want to present lethal on the swing back for sure.
Yeah. Is there a reason to not double block? Are you worried about Sunhome being deployed through the scout?
You certainly have to consider it, and it looks like this is going to get the job done.
Dilks has had enough.
And after a 28-minute game one where there were only like 5 turns played, like that was not a long game as far as turn count goes.
I'm exhausted.
I'm going to take a nap for the second game here. Craig's going to cover that on his own. Very excited to hear that. I'll get you through the sideboarding first, Craig. How about that? We'll start over on Matthew Dilks' side. There we see 3 Dismember, 3 Mystical Dispute, 2 Beast Within, 1 Tectonic Edge, 1 Radiant Fountain, 1 Engineered Explosives, 1 Field of the Dead, 1 Reclamation Shade, 1 Ramunap Excavator, and 1 Tireless Tracker. And you know what, Craig? This is doing double duty because they are card for card, the exact same sideboard. And I think the exact same 75.
I would expect so. The big question I have here is, do these players feel like the play draw changes how you sideboard? So potentially when you're on the play, you want Beast Within, but when you're on the draw, it's a little too slow and you don't want it. I wonder if there's decisions like that going on. Same thing with something like Ramunap Excavator, the Reclamation Stage. You know, I wonder if these cards change in texture depending who's on the play and who's on the draw.
There's also the fact that they worked together, and at some point they have discussed how do you sideboard in the Amulet Titan Mirror. So now, having discussed that and knowing what your opponent is apt to do,
there's another level?
Do you alter your plans at all? I mean, it has to at least be considered. I don't know if there's that much wiggle room in the plans, but you got to think about it. You know, if I'm not saying this is the case, but say one of the players is anticipating that all the Mystical Disputes come in, then there's kind of an onus not to bring in the Mystical Disputes, knowing your opponent has to play around it anyway and just getting 3 more good cards.
Very possibly. But also we've commented a couple different times how the best answer to a Mystical Dispute is your own Mystical Dispute.
I know. I don't know if that's the route these players are going to go down, but it's just funny the head games you can start to play with each other when you've worked so closely on the archetype. And now you're playing the mirror match for a top 8 berth.
Yeah, and I'm still not sure what happened in the first game. Hopefully they know.
Yeah, it feels like Will should have been able to punch through a little bit more damage, but like I said, that awkward draw really doomed his explosive hand.
Whew.
Another interesting deck floating around the top tables, playing for a chance to top 8. It's Christopher Gooch's Mono Green Devotion. He's taking on Corey Baumeister right now.
We had that as a backup feature match.
We did.
One of the earlier rounds, but I don't believe it made it on camera.
It did not. It got beat up pretty hard by Daryl Ayer's Sultai Urza deck. Mono Green Devotion is something Jerry Thompson and I worked on a bunch prior to the last Invitational, and we found a really, really strong configuration of the deck for the Modern format. Things have broken in a fashion where we both kind of stepped away from it, but I do think that deck has potential legs in Modern, especially going forward if something changes in the format.
Well, Gooch has to have done well against Ursa over the course of this weekend.
Absolutely.
The idea that he has just dodged those decks, it seems absurd to me.
I agree with you. Both players very satisfied with 7, it looks like here. Kind of rare for Amulet, but you see why. Dilks starting on turn 1, Amulet of Vigor. I am told Will did take a mulligan. So Will down a card, Dilks keeping 7. It's the follow-up to this Amulet of Vigor. How about a bounce land? That's a good follow-up. 3 mana floating.
Okay.
Explore.
Okay.
Could be worse for Will. Still a little scary.
I was going to say, this can still be a very explosive start out of Dilks.
Just going to redeploy Breeding Pool, pass the turn back to Pulliam. Pulliam untaps with Sakura Tribe Scout at the ready. Field of the Dead is the play. And just passes the turn back. So neither player really going off yet.
Yeah, the Scout does represent some interesting wrinkles. Potentially deploying a Ghost Quarter at instant speed.
Right. Yeah, instant speed play makes a big difference for this deck. So Dilks able to deploy Ramanep Excavator. That's a big game. Should we find something like a Ghost Quarter?
Yeah, if Dilks is set up to play a Titan next turn.
Ooh, Pulliam just drew an Amulet. Tribe Scout. Castle Garenbrig. How about Primeval Titan? Gonna work. Once again, Will Pulliam, first Titan on board, and you see how critical Castle Garenbrig has proven itself to be to this deck. Easy turn 3 Titan.
Yeah, but the castle does have that opportunity cost to it, where when you draw multiples, they're still just good and do what they want to do.
Yes, they do.
Why?
I don't know, Craig. I don't know. At least here, you are constrained on your forest count a little bit. You're not loaded with forest, but this deck has retooled its mana base and gotten a bunch more into the mix at this stage. Important for Will. Didn't have to pay for a pact to go find this Titan, so still going to have access to mana on the next turn. But Dilks is up to 6 mana as well. Golgari Rot Farm going to return to hand. Summoner's Pact going to be cast, going to resolve. And it is prime time. Primeval Titan going to come down with Ramanep Excavator at the ready. Could potentially set up some strong lock potential after this turn. First things first, though. How about we speed up that Primeval Titan a little bit? Going to get haste from the Slayer Stronghold. Slayer Stronghold bounced back to hand. Now Dilks makes an attack. 8/6 Primeval Titan.
Magic players, once again, we do still need
2 more lands.
Yeah, does he want
if you would like to play Pioneer,
some land destruction here?
make your way up to the event stage and register at this time. We do still need 1 more player to begin.
It's an interesting call.
Pioneer Challenge.
Pulliam with Amulet in hand. which kind of messes with Dilks' perception of things. He would have had to have drawn it exactly on the last turn or this turn for it not to have been deployed earlier in the game. So Dilks thinks the odds of him having Amulet are very small, and it drastically changes what Will Pulliam is capable of on his turn when that Titan attacks. Looks like Ghost Quarter going to be the first find for Dilks. Oh, just get the tech edge. Get them both.
I was going to say, do we know that he has the tech edge available to him?
I would assume it has come in. I don't know that authoritatively.
Well, I'm saying it could just be sitting in his hand.
That as well. Yeah. You never know. Unless you've seen the hand, you never know with Amulet Titan. A lot of one-ofs. A lot of branching decision paths. Looks like ultimately we are going to go with a Ghost Quarter and a Castle Garenbrig. Unfortunate for Dilks that we do have a pack to pay for on the next turn. Will Pulliam not burdened by any of those concerns. Lots of mana available when we untap.
Yeah, the natural Titan's the best Titan to have.
Unquestionably. No such thing as a bad Titan, but the natural Titan, whole other level.
No, maybe the red Titan is a bad Titan.
No. There's no need to be nasty to Inferno Titan. It has its time and place. It still sees occasional play.
That is fair. So I ran through the whole list of Titans.
That's the worst one you came up with?
And
Sun Titan was the easy one. Of course the white one's the worst one.
No, get out of here.
Easy one to pick on.
Get out of here. They've all seen play at points.
They have all seen play, unquestionably. I would actually say the one that has seen the least play since its days in Standard would be Frost Titan.
Sure.
But it was so good in Standard.
It was so good in Standard, and it's still kind of like a cube all-star.
Okay.
Where you see it pop up. You know, you don't see the white Titan very often. You don't see blue Titan very often, but they are in the cube.
There is a point, and this is insane to say right now, where like Sun Titan Control in Modern was tier 2-ish. Like it was respectable. Can you imagine playing Sun Titan Control these days?
Yeah, there was a point where you could do kind of your own fun, unique thing in Modern.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, unless you're Aaron Barrage.
It's true. She's figured it out. Has the secret sauce. Golgari Yawgmoth, certainly going to be one of the talks of this tournament, regardless of how she finishes. Still a lot of room to put a cherry on top, though. Imagine winning the tournament.
Yeah, so she took some shots at me off camera.
Love it. Support that entirely.
And I was like, all right, what goes around comes around. I'll have my time. And then she just kept winning.
So you didn't get the shots. Sorry about that, Greg.
Yeah, me too.
So Pulliam is able to deploy that amulet. And like I said, it just changes the whole complexion of what this attack means. It's now able to get a Tectonic Edge. Also looks like it's going to return a Vesuva to Will's hand. And that is going to get the handshake from Matthew Dilks. What was going to happen there was Will was going to take Dilks off of his packed mana, I believe, and just leave him with no outs.
I think even if he doesn't take him off the packed mana,